Greetings, love or fear here. Choices, all about the choices. Here to do the Aries love reading for November 1st through the 15th. First, we're going to look at the overall energy, and then we're going to look at you, Aries, and then your person, the situation in love, and the situation that may be the blocks, which would be your fears, their fears, and see what is going on for you and another person, situation, circumstance. Love is universal, so it could apply to anything, including returning back to your own energy. So, I've had it happen a couple times where it is a continuation of your own energy and returning self-love back to you. Do keep in mind that energy is fluid. Time does not actually exist, even though the intention is set for the 1st through the 15th. It may apply at another time, either a past or future occurrence. This is to help you move forward into your life, into a healthier, happier, more abundant you. And masculine, feminine, as you guys probably already know, applies to the energies, not gender or sex. It's a yin-yang balancing energy. And let's see, what else is there to mention? These are over 18 because the overall the tone cards I'm using are a little explicit. Did these with, who was it? I want to say maybe Aquarius. And it actually worked out pretty well. So I'm going to look at first just kind of a general sense of what will be showing up perhaps for you in a situation or person in this love context. I hope everybody had a great Halloween. I am running behind, needed desperately to just have a little downtime. So I do apologize for the late. Energies have been pretty intense, especially with the blue moon, Halloween, Mercury retrograde, and an election coming up. So have been seeing a lot of showing up of shadow work to be done, and it is showing up in relationships. So we'll see what's going on for Aries for November 1st through the 15th. Of November 2020. And if this reading resonates with you, you can contact me to get more in depth. I do offer individual readings. And if it also resonates, let me know down in the comment box. Aries. And then for the person or situation Aries is connected to in love. Person or situation. Oh, thank you. Let me try not to burn through a card here. And at the end of the reading, I will pull an oracle card. Your energy will tell me which deck. I do read from the book because I don't want any details of the messages to be missed for you guys. So Aries first, we're going to look at you. I'm going to pull the cards for those, then your person or situation. And then we will dive into the energy. Love energy for Aries showing up for the 1st through the 15th. There's the love. Thank you. Inner. Aries. Interpreting for Aries. Interesting. And some energies for Aries. 15. And connecting. So these are sort of like the clarifying cards that connect the energies within and kind of tells us a little bit more detail about what is going on. Okay, connecting energy between love and inner. Connecting energy between inner and fear. Energy fear. Energy of fear outer. Interesting. 2. And fear to outer to love. Pull for your person. It helps me as a reader to pull for both. Before I get into the energy, I know some do one at a time. Sometimes, often, the energies overlap. And that kind of helps show more of what's going on and what may be blocking the connection or getting in the way, interfering. Alright, and for Aries, the connecting energy in love. Connecting energy in love for what is happening. You know what? Something just went not quite right there. What was that? I feel like something needed to be cleared. What is the energy of the actual love? And the inner energy of the connection. It's an inner. What is the inner? What is the inner energy of what is the fear? What is the fear of the connecting energy? The fear block. Interference. What is the fear block? Interference with the connecting. Outer. Balancing energy, please. That's a balancing energy. connecting between love and connecting between air and two. Seems fear and oh, what is that from? It had to be fear and power. Fear and power. Oh, pardon me, guys. And outer to love. Outer to love. Aries, unfortunately, it's feeling like this person is, or situation, that there is, I mean, energy is just one of, which makes that really interesting. Something's on with their back. Oops. Bottom of your deck. Alright, Aries, let's get into it. I know what the initial energy feels like for your person, but we're going to start with, or situation, I feel like it is a person. Initial overall is the Fool. Upright, which is a willingness to take a risk generally. I'm getting a different energy. I'm getting the energy of more like not like there's just not an interest here. And I don't know if it's, I have a feeling it's your person. And it feels like you're trying to entice interest, and it's just not happening. But let's take a look at you. For your love energy is the World, which is clearly an end and an entry to a beginning. Is it end or beginning? We'll see. But it is meant to happen. And with this, it may be that you are ready for a new beginning, that this situation, this energy is done. Knight of Swords is your inner energy. Knight of Swords in reverse, which is typically, fast moving into communication. This is being not communicating. This is not talking to someone, not engaging, not wanting to, not moving forward. Just kind of a silence, really. Your fear is related in some way to walking away, but it's in reverse. It may be a fear of a return. Outer energy is sideways, which is an abandonment, being left out of the cold, somebody being left behind. It's interesting that it's sideways, so it may be that this is in transition, that this is occurring, and there's some push and pull going on, with your balancing energy being the Page of Cups, which is a small offering of love, connection, emotion. This I feel like this is more of a pulling away from something external and putting it back into self with everything else that's going on. Let's see what the connecting is between inner and the world. Challenge, opportunity, new hope, perspective, clear vision, past, present, future. Yeah, it feels like there's some conversion. Yeah, everything's kind of happening at once. Tower. Between fear and inner. Wheel of Fortune, major arcanas here, which is also an end to something, faded ending, change. Full moon, queen, self-aware, harmonious, radiant, beginnings, innocent, brand new, creative. Yeah. Right here, it feels to me pretty clear, Aries, that there is a connection, this connection here, that you're done with it. There still may be some push and pull. You've put in all the effort you feel like you can, and you're feeling like there is just not a whole lot of interest. It shows up immediately in this particular Fool card. Hope you guys are over 18. These are definitely very explicit cards, but they carry the energy very well in the expression. So you see this woman, she's trying to get his attention, and he is just like, yeah, okay, I'm just here. I'm gonna, hang out with this butterfly. You can do whatever, and the expression, the being flaccid when she's like sitting there like, so are you interested or not? And he's like, yeah, no, not really. I mean, I'll let you, but not really all that interested, clearly. Just he doesn't even show a lot of interest in himself. So you may be dealing with somebody who is dealing with a serious lack of self-worth and self-value. So them being able to express toward you is very limited. If they don't care sufficiently about themselves, then being able to reciprocate any offering you bring to the table is going to be absent. And it feels very much here like this effort was present, and you're just like over it. The fear is, so 8 of Cups upright is someone walking away and leaving something behind. In reverse, it's usually a coming back or returning, or, it can be, depending on what's around, it can be a debate about whether or not, an indecision, whether to stay or go. Being in the fear position, I feel like there is a fear of a return. And I'm not sure if you're afraid you're going to go back by some sort of default setting, or if they're going to come back to you. I don't know who walked away from who. But it does feel like it is definitely in this transitional process of this hasn't completed yet. It feels like you're in this stage of basically ghosting, going silent. And I feel like you're kind of taking a passive aggressive role of not engaging in an active walking away. It's more passive, and you're hoping they get the hint. And I feel like that's why this is sort of sideways. You're not telling them that you're done. You're not telling them that you're walking away. You're kind of just hoping they get it and stay gone and don't come back. And it's almost like you're trying to create in this process a tower moment for them, and to get them to, it's a quieter kind of rejection. And the balancing energy with this Page of Cups, I feel like, is kind of a gentle nudge towards you to be more in your power, more in your own self-love, enough to say, I'm done. You know, and you want this ending to be completed, you know, because leading straight into the world from the external is all about new beginnings. It's all about being more in balance, being more connected with yourself. So whatever this is here, it is definitely not being a good fit for you. And you've gone silent because it's just, you've gotten clarity that this just is not working for you for whatever reason. Maybe their energy, we'll talk about that. And you are manifesting this ending very intentionally. I do feel like with this in reverse, this is also a lack of honesty. You know, and to love and respect enough to come forward and be honest. And that will resolve this fear of return. Now, there are situations where, you know, this is not a safe option. I'm not really getting that energy, but we'll see what's going on with the connection here. I'm just getting it just doesn't jive. And if there's a fear that there's going to be a return, then there's obviously you have a reason to believe that this could happen. So let's take a look at their energy. Their overall is the Nine of Swords, which is stress and anxiety and fear, things that keep you up at night. And obviously with this card, you have a couple here. So there is, stress and anxiety and fear in context of this connection very clearly. Their love energy, I don't know that you have anything to be afraid of. They do not want a reunion. They don't want a reconnection to develop. Their attention may be elsewhere, or it could be that, they had another person on the side and they've, changed direction from you to that other person. Maybe that's where all this is coming from on your part. Their inner energy is Page of Cups. They are in reverse, mimics your balance. They are not offering. They are not bringing love or connection to the table. They aren't feeling it either. Their fear, Temperance in reverse. I think they have the same fear you do, actually. Temperance is really about inner balance. It can be about divine timing. It can be about patience. Temperance is a fairly flexible card. And I feel like with the energy that's showing up for them, this is that I'm not really in this kind of energy. There's just not enough inner drive, and their fear is that, you know, that there's going to be an attempt to force this connection to continue, and it's not balanced, and it's not something either of you actually want. But without the communication to express that, the Hangman is moving on. It's gaining insight and perspective and recognition that this yeah, see, with the Two of Pentacles here, juggling too much, and then you have the Three of Cups, and in connection to you, the Page of Cups in reverse. This does feel like there was maybe a third party or some other, a third party doesn't have to be a person. With the Cups here, the Temperance, it does feel like a person, and they have stepped outside the relationship and have chosen the other person. Maybe they were having two actual supposedly committed relationships at once, and you know, the anxiety and stress of trying to maintain both connections, and you know, that's also reflected in the fear. Let's see what the connecting energy is between love and inner communication. Letter communication. And you're not. Between inner and fear, crossroads journey, multiple choice, break free, strong emotions, desire, sexual unbridled. Yeah, it's all here between fear and outer. Again, Temperance. This time it's in upright. Within the next 14 to 30 days during the fall, November 22nd to December 21st, you could be dealing with a Sagittarius. There's a lot of, pretty much all the energies are here, mostly Cups. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're dealing with the water energy. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Sag is a fire energy. Soulmate, twin flame, one. Yeah, Aries, it looks like you two need to have a conversation, because you're sharing this fear of coming back together. Like, neither one of you want this. They have chosen another person, is what I'm getting very, very strongly. And there is a lot of anxiety and stress showing up for both of you about this being ongoing or coming back to life in some way. And neither of you want that, but it's not been communicated clearly that this is an end. And I almost feel, Aries, like their decision is very clear. You have some residual holding on. You recognize, see, feel the need. You don't want to be in it, and yet there's a feeling of, underneath all that, there's still attachment, Aries. And maybe that's why you're not communicating. The end is there's just a little crack in the door still, I feel like, and just a little bit of hope. For what reason exactly Maybe it's just the history in that. Maybe it's just that there's some attachment to the past, to, you know, what you did share, and at the same time the recognition. So there's just a little bit of inner conflict going on. You want the ending, you want to move into the next phase, you want to have the new beginning, you recognize all of it. You don't actually have the desire to reconnect, but underneath all of that, there's still this little bit of I kind of want to give it another go. I kind of want to check and make sure that it's over. You know, and it's not an intense desire. It's just maybe a little bit of doubt, a little bit of uncertainty about you actually, like, will I regret this later? You know, am I not giving enough? Have I really tried everything? And I think that's what it is it's more like, have I really put my all into it? And when you sit back and really look at it, you recognize that you have. And, you know, what they have done obviously is creates a very clear-cut ending. From them, I feel like there's still not like relationship love interest, but I feel like this has been kind of a at least semi-long connection. And so there's care there, you know, there's I care about this person. I don't want them to be hurt. I don't want them to feel bad. And I feel like that's kind of where this anxiety and stress is coming from. Like, they don't want you to be hurt, and it's just, but leaving the situation is freeing them in on one hand, but at the same time it's also creating a new set of fears and worries and doubts, and how do I handle this? They're not being honest either. Temperance in reverse is I feel like is really kind of like there's kind of that's inner niggling, like I know I need to do this right, but and I know I'm not. And there's that's creating this stress and anxiety and doubt. But they also recognize, you two are recognizing the same thing. And it feels like this is a situation where there is enough care for each other that maybe the option of sitting down and actually getting closure would be a benefit to you both. It would free you both from these underlying concerns that aren't huge, but will allow you both to move forward in a more complete sense, without the mind chatter. Let's get an oracle card and see what that has to say. You guys are torn between... I'm feeling pretty roomy. And roomy is long, but I kind of feel like maybe some... maybe some actual advice here for this connection for Aries, 1st through the 15th. This is an uncomfortable place to be, but it's not horrible because at least you're in the same space of ending. You know, they've moved into a new connection already. You are wanting to, and there's just there's some cleanup, you know, and it feels, Aries, like you kind of want to burn the bridge. That may not be necessary. You know, there may be some underlying resentments and whatnot that is causing that. I will take a look at that. With the trying to manifest a tower and Jupiter in here, and you know, this little bit of not completely clean cut. You may want to look at, you know, some of the underlying within yourself to help move forward and complete this disconnect. Okay. For this connection. What is message for this situation? Oh. Insight. Let's see for this connection. Enter the Garden of Delights. It's a 28. I'm not like a numerology expert, but I'm aware that, you know, if you put the 2 and the 8, it's a 10, which is endings. What does Rumi have to say about the Garden of Delights? All right, so the way these are structured from Rumi is, you know, there's a poem that is by Rumi. Then there's some insight, and then it gets into the advice. And it kind of gives you all the over and undertones of the card before the explanation. So, are you aware that sweetness is found everywhere in town? Are you aware that winter is gone and spring has come around? So this is all about this change, this end and beginning. Are you aware sweet basil and the carnation are whispering in the garden and laughing about how simply everything is found? Are you aware the nightingale has come back from its flight, singing out messages of love to spread delight with every sound? Everything in the garden is granted the right from the divine court to appear for our delight. Everything is here to make the earth green and alive as a haven for our life. What remains buried in the soil will always endeavor to reach out. No one truly alive can ever be pawned to a prison or tomb. So I kind of feel like that's this whole not communicating, and it's going to keep you kind of in this space of that underlying stuck. There is a sweet spot when entering the Garden of Delights, a moment where the senses have gorged themselves upon beauty and become heavy with their fullness, slowing the mind so that it can perceive the divine beloved dancing behind the veils of nature. But first comes the sensual feasting. Blooming orchids arrest the gaze with their startling and strange beauty. Nectar from the ripest fruits of the garden drips, luscious and sweet upon a savoring tongue. Hungry for gossip, the ears shamelessly eavesdrop upon the birds in melodic conversations. I don't know if that's something going on for you guys, but maybe that's something that resonates as well. They sing of greatest, most passionate love and boundless living joy. The ears open wide to take it all in. That may be about your former person, your ex-person. The craving for touch is stated by rough textured bark falling from ancient trees, soft dewy grasses cool in the shade. The crunching leaves make their sound under the hot sun and dancing feet, and the caress of that sunlight upon the bare shoulders with the weight of its own like a silken wrap, placed just so by a caring lover's hand. The breeze, the very breath of the beloved earth mother, is sweet with the scent of lavender and jasmine warmed by the sun father. I'm not going to read the rest. None of that part anyway. You have been granted entry into sacred space, mihrab, a sanctuary for worship. When the soul is well acquainted with love, life becomes a temple of love. The sacred space in which the soul can grow powerfully through expansive worship of love. You are being invited by your spiritual brother Rumi to enter into life, to commit to coming alive, even if at times it feels deeply challenging. I feel like that would be speaking to this need to communicate where you stand and get clear. Sometimes part of you may rather stay locked in an illusion of security for a time, perhaps expressed through the preference for what is known over what is unknown. That little tiny bit of hope in there. That should I give this just a little bit more effort? Make sure maybe that's why you're trying to do this quietly. You're trying to not communicate to tell them you're done. You're not closing the door. You're done, but you're not actively closing the door. What is familiar and comfortable compared to that which is unfamiliar or uncomfortable, new beginnings. To tussle with the parts of us that could deny aliveness is a natural part of growth. It can seem so risky with such potential for heartache, and yet what could be more heart-wrenching than the slow death of a precious human soul suffocated by fear and inertia? Fear and inertia right here. Here's your inertia, here's your fear. And it is slowing this ending. You know, and this cup of love is that gentle prodding to love you, to get out of this non-movement. You know, you know that what you actually want, there's just a little bit of hesitation. That is the greatest risk of never really and fully being born into this world of wonders. So Rumi is your midwife, there to ensure full spiritual birth. He is standing at the threshold of you now, with you now. You're being asked to cross this threshold from the life you've been living into the aliveness that is flickering and glowing at your feet. That would be this new beginning and you know, this desire for it. It is love's wild, hot embers at your sacred feet. They will erupt at any moment into a holy inferno, taking hold of you and igniting you from within, transforming you into living fire. To come alive requires shedding of so much adherence to the fear of death. The great brother whispers wisdom into your heart. You have heard it, felt it already. Hello. The fear of death is so much more terrible than death itself. Nothing is dying in you but fear, so the heart can live more freely. Death and life are twin angels dancing together in communion with the sacred. They are not opposed. They bring the soul aliveness and make the garden of delights possible. They bring the seasons of the soul that foster growth and take the appearance of dying away, which is actually part of the cycle of life again and again. You have been through much death, dear one, around you, within you. You have known this dark angel. That is why you are so full of life. Your attempts to stay as you have been, to render something in your life immobile or impervious to change, have failed. Tower, Wheel of Fortune, the World, these are all major moves, steps, guided into that transition of ending, beginning. Let us celebrate. There is no delight in frozen moments long since past. Why try to feast upon such food? It will not nourish you anywhere near as deeply and fully as the fresh from the oven morsels of life. This gentle movement into self-love, to offer that cup to you enough to move through this transition. Come, let us taste all that is in offer. We'll drink headily and sate our deepest thirst. Let us enjoy the richness of the meal in gratitude for its preparation and awe at the skill involved in such masterful creation. Do not let the memory of death starve you of your participation in life. The memory of death, that effort, those attempts to gain interest, to gain attention, to gain, look at where he's looking. He's got no interest in that. This energy of this person here, it's not necessarily a lack of regard or care, but it's definitely a lack of interest in continuing with this connection. And the decision to how to finish this out, and they have a communication card and you have a communication card, crossroads, multiple choice, break free. For both of you, this is something you both want, but you're both stuck, and it's holding you both back. And you're stuck only in clearly communicating this ending, which is going to free you both. And for you, even though you are not in the same space, carefree, spontaneous, brand new, equilibrium, priestess, harmonious, right? You recognize that there is a beginning that is for you after this, but you're stuck still in this ending. It's you want it, and you're still stuck in this ending. And so are they. They're actively moving forward, but they too are also stuck in this ending. I will soothe you with a loving touch upon your back, and yet gently I will turn your head to the right and urge you to see the rising sun. What did I just say? Your life is blessed, you see. I want you to know this now. I want you to accept this now. Let those horrors of the past be gone. There are no more than phantoms. The garden is here now to be touched, tasted, seen, and heard, felt, inhaled, and loved. This oracle comes to you with a message. A new day is dawning for you. This is a time when the past will very soon cease and have any hold over you. Celebration is imminent. You are invited into the golden light of divine plenty. Put your worries behind you now and step into your divine inheritance, where all is sorted according to kindness and grace. Sacred honoring ritual. Say aloud, I accept the gift of golden grace. That gift of love towards self. That's your grace. I accept the gift of golden grace and healing now, to leave behind all prisons and tombs, conscious and unconscious, of heart and of mind. I open up to life and assistance through unconditional love, in being present to the miraculous beauty that seeks to live through me, as me, and in benefit to all humanity now. I know myself to be worthy of this grace, to be this grace, so be it. So the message is pretty clear, Aries. And between fear and outer, expansive, optimistic, tolerant, grateful, destiny, turning point, goodwill, fortune, luck, growth. And I also feel like in this, there's a lesson, Aries, in this being honest with yourself, and it can be scary, you know. And this tower, is the lesson. I feel like I know earlier I said you're trying to manifest it, and I think you are. But at the same time, what is occurring, I feel like, is a tower is an ending. It is to undo something, to knock down something that is no longer serving, and it doesn't come back. A death card is different in that, you know, it's an ending that's transitioning into something new. This is getting rid of something completely that no longer serves. This is a destruction of, and I feel like the destruction of here is the destruction of this holding back and this fear of being true to yourself. And this fear of this just little bit of underlying fear of moving on. And so it is a practice in holding space for yourself and moving into, you know, to bring that kindness and gentleness, not only to yourself, you know, in the act of freeing yourself, but also to other, by bringing that honesty forward with compassion for both parties. How they respond, what they do, you have no control over that. Your responsibility is only to you. And to allow yourself to be free, to move into this fresh new start, whatever that is for you. But it cannot fully open up and be in front of you until this is done. So, I know endings are hard, Aries. And it's a mutual desire. And I feel like you move through this, it's going to open up a whole new world for you. You know? So don't stay stuck here too long. If you need to spend a little time with it, you know, of course, do that. We never want to rush, especially not during Mercury retrograde. Not the best time. But this is pretty clear, and I feel like this has been hanging on since before retrograde. And you both have been sitting in this energy for a while. And you know, going and pursuing closure from other is not always a great idea. With these combined energies, it seems like it's something that's needed for both of you. So, you know, in a situation like that, it's definitely a genuine possibility that it's a healthy way to go. So Aries, I hope that helps bring some clarity, and look forward to see what your new beginning looks like. And you always have choice, you always have an option. You can, you know, choose to stay more in the passive energy. I don't think it will free you as quickly. And it's not so much about freeing the other person, it's about freeing yourself. And it's about moving into that state of loving gentleness with you and allowing new to come in with the same gentleness. What you put out is what you draw in. So I hope that helps, Aries. This is never fear. Choices, always. Blessings.